The desert sun glared down on Forward Operating Base Sentinel as Staff Sergeant Emma Ramirez tightened the final bolt on a Humvee engine. Despite 3 years of distinguished service in the 101st Airborne Division, the sideways glances from some of her male counterparts hadn't stopped. Emma wiped sweat from her brow, leaving a streak of grease across her forehead. Her hands told her story, calloused, strong, and steady, the hands of someone who fixed things that others couldn't. Still, the whispers followed her across the dusty tarmac. Quick pause. Comment where you're watching from. And if you love these stories, hit subscribe now. The next one will blow your mind, and it's even crazier. The distinctive whump 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 of helicopter blades sliced through the air. Emma shaded her eyes as an Apache attack helicopter made an unsteady approach. Even from a distance, she could tell something was wrong. The aircraft wobbled slightly, its landing rougher than protocol allowed. Captain Sarah Maverick Mitchell, one of the most respected pilots in Afghanistan, jumped from the cockpit, her expression tense beneath her helmet. "Machine gun malfunction," Mitchell announced to the gathering ground crew. "Complete failure mid-operation. We need it operational by 1800 hours." Emma stepped forward. "I can take a look, Captain." Technical Sergeant Briggs laughed. "The M230 chain gun? It's not like fixing a car, sweetheart. That's a complex weapons system," several men chuckled. Emma felt heat rise in her cheeks but kept her expression neutral. Captain Mitchell's eyes narrowed. "Sergeant Ramirez has the highest technical scores in the unit. She'll lead on this repair." For the next 2 hours, Emma worked methodically on the massive 30mm automatic cannon. The problem wasn't obvious. She had to trace it to a rare failure in the feed system. As she worked, she heard passing comments from Briggs and others. "Gonna get someone killed. Women shouldn't be touching weapon systems." Emma tuned them out, focusing instead on the elegant mechanics before her. She not only identified the problem, but implemented a modification she'd been theorizing, one that would prevent similar failures. "It's fixed, Captain," she reported when Mitchell returned, "and improved." Mitchell raised an eyebrow but nodded. "We'll see, Sergeant." Emma was halfway through dinner when the base alarm blared. She rushed outside to see Mitchell sprinting toward the Apache. The operations officer shouted something about an extraction. Master Sergeant William Bull Halsey's team was trapped behind enemy lines, pinned down by heavy fire. "Good luck," Emma called. Mitchell paused at the helicopter. "If your repair fails, soldiers die. Remember that." Then she was airborne, the Apache disappearing into the darkening sky. For the next hour, Emma paced. The radio in the operations center crackled with updates. Halsey's team was surrounded. The second Apache had turned back with mechanical issues. Mitchell was continuing alone. Then came Mitchell's voice through the radio. "Engaging multiple hostiles. Heavy resistance." The sound of the M230 chain gun thundered through the transmission, sustained, uninterrupted fire that should have been impossible with the standard configuration. Emma held her breath, counting seconds. 30, 40, 50. The gun continued to perform flawlessly. When the Apache returned 2 hours later, escorting a Black Hawk carrying Halsey's team, the base erupted in cheers. Mitchell landed and jumped down, her face grimy but triumphant. She spotted Emma standing back from the crowd and marched over, pulling out her phone. "Ramirez!" "Front and center," she called. As Emma approached, Mitchell positioned her beside the Apache's weapon system and started recording. "This is Captain Sarah Mitchell, 101st Airborne. Tonight, I fired 273 rounds continuously from this Apache's machine gun to extract 8 soldiers from certain death. This weapon system was completely inoperable this morning until Staff Sergeant Emma Ramirez repaired it using a technique she developed herself. The same men who mocked her are alive because of her expertise." The video spread through military channels first, then civilian social media. Within days, it had reached millions. Comments flooded in from female veterans, aspiring engineers, and military personnel worldwide. 2 weeks later, Emma received both a commendation and a transfer request to the Army's Advanced Weapons Research Division. "They need minds like yours," Mitchell said, handing her the papers. "People who solve problems others don't even understand." Emma accepted with steady hands that had proven their worth under fire, just like she had. Lieutenant Jessica "Jess" Patton stared at the Apache helicopter's exposed M230 chain gun, ignoring the sweat trickling down her neck in the sweltering hangar. The problem was subtle. A microscopic flaw in the firing pin alignment that could cause catastrophic failure at the worst possible moment. 6 months as the only female engineer in the elite maintenance unit had taught her to triple-check her assessments before speaking up. The men already called her Princess Patton behind her back. "Something interesting, Lieutenant?" Master Sergeant Reeves appeared beside her, his voice carrying across the hangar. Jess straightened. "Yes, sir. There's a critical misalignment in the firing mechanism. If this Apache goes up, the gun will jam after approximately 30 rounds. Reeves squinted at the weapon system, then laughed. "Impossible. This bird just passed inspection yesterday." With respect, they missed it. "See this connection point?" She pointed to a nearly invisible stress fracture. Within minutes, a small crowd of mechanics had gathered. Their dismissive chuckles felt like physical blows. "Maybe stick to filing paperwork." "Lieutenant," one called out. "Or making coffee," another added. Sergeant Miller, the senior weapons specialist, pushed through. "Patton thinks she's found something we all missed, boys." He examined the gun for barely 3 seconds. "Nothing wrong here except wasted time. This bird flies tomorrow morning with Colonel Roosevelt." The name sent a chill through Jess. Colonel Eleanor Thunderbird. Roosevelt was a legend, a decorated combat pilot with more successful missions than anyone in the squadron. She'd earned her call sign by flying through a thunderstorm to rescue trapped Marines when no one else would attempt it. After the others left, Jess remained, staring at the weapon system. The flaw was there. She'd stake her career on it. But reporting it again would only invite more ridicule. With a deep breath, she made her decision. At 0200 hours, the hangar was deserted. Using her security clearance, Jess slipped inside and got to work. The repair was delicate, requiring precision few engineers possessed. 3 hours later, with aching fingers and bloodshot eyes, she replaced the last panel. "Explain yourself, Lieutenant." Jess whirled around. Colonel Roosevelt stood in the shadows, arms crossed over her flight suit. At 45, Roosevelt's face was weathered by wind and war, her gray-streaked hair pulled back in a tight bun. "Colonel, Jess swallowed hard. "I identified a critical flaw that was missed in inspection. When I reported it, I was dismissed. So I fixed it myself." Roosevelt's expression remained impassive. "You modified a weapon system without authorization on the word of your own untested theory?" "Yes, ma'am." "That's grounds for court-martial." Roosevelt approached the helicopter, examining Jess's work with expert eyes. "How confident are you that your assessment was correct?" 100%, ma'am." Roosevelt studied her for a long moment. "There's a live-fire exercise scheduled for Aero 800. You will be present when I test your repair personally." Sleep-deprived and anxious, Jess stood at attention on the airfield 3 hours later. Colonel Roosevelt climbed into the Apache without a backward glance. The exercise would involve firing at distant targets, standard procedure for testing weapons systems. As the helicopter lifted off, a red alert blared across the base. The radio crackled to life. "All personnel, this is not a drill. Enemy forces have breached the northern perimeter. Air support required immediately." Jess's heart stopped. Roosevelt's Apache was the only aircraft ready for immediate deployment. The helicopter changed course, heading directly toward the gunfire now audible from the northern fence. Through the radio, Jess heard Roosevelt's calm voice. "Command, this is Thunderbird. Engaging hostiles." Then came the sound that would haunt Jess forever, the Apache's M230 chain gun roaring to life. 20 rounds, 30, 40. The weapon continued firing without interruption, when it should have jammed if her assessment had been wrong. For 17 agonizing minutes, Roosevelt's Apache provided the only defense against the surprise attack, the machine gun firing continuously until reinforcements arrived. When the helicopter finally returned, it was riddled with bullet holes but intact. Roosevelt climbed down, removing her helmet as cameras from the base's media team surrounded her, standard procedure for documenting combat events. Instead of reporting to command, she walked straight to Jess. "Lieutenant Patton," she said, her voice carrying to the assembled crowd. "Your unauthorized repair saved this base and everyone on it. That gun fired over 200 continuous rounds when the standard system would have jammed after 30. She turned to face the cameras directly. Remember her name. In combat, skill matters more than gender, and Lieutenant Patton just proved she has skill in spades. The video spread across military channels within hours, then jumped to civilian social media. Within days, it had gone viral, with millions of views and thousands of comments from female veterans and young women interested in military engineering. 1 week later, Jess received transfer orders to Roosevelt's personal team, with a promotion to captain and a commendation for exceptional service under pressure. The orders came with a handwritten note. Talent recognizes talent. Welcome aboard, Thunderbird 2.